am back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, how nice does it feel to be back? Well, not that you're here with me, but for me, it feels absolutely incredible. I'm down on my syndicate in Oxfordshire. Now, this syndicate, or the ticket for this syndicate, has 3 lakes. The one that I want to fish, or that I wanted to fish this particular trip, there's 11 guys on there, which is very, very busy. But like I do with all my angling, which is one of the reasons why I love going to Linear on the day tickets, is because you have so many options when you arrive here, exactly like what I'm faced with here now. So I'm on the middle one, which is known as Unity. Now, the biggest fish in here is a mid-40, and it's a ghosty, and it's a ghosty common. Now, the biggest ghosty that I've ever caught is 34 pounds. So one thing I always like to do when I'm fishing is always like an end target or something that's in the lake that I could potentially try and catch. So that's swimming around out there somewhere. Now, I'm going to stand outside my bivvy because I am absolutely roasting. I'm not hot as in it's boiling hot, but I've just been rushing around to get everything sorted. And yeah, the rods are now out there. I've had a massive problem with the flipping floating weeds. I've had to put my rods down low. But the lake itself is very, very weedy. Now, I've spent a good hour. I've only ever fished this lake for about 6 to 8 hours. Just a sort of an afternoon-ish about 2 or 3 months ago. And the lake's exceptionally weedy. So the peg that I've come into now, like I do everywhere that I go, always look for the obvious horizon markers. Now, opposite me, I'll show you in a minute, there's a couple of little sort of humps where the trees have sort of grown and they're sort of arced, if you like. I've chucked straight at those. Now, I know the boundary in this peg is probably about 100, 110 yards. So I've gone straight out to that and I've sort of donked the lead back until I found a real nice seam of gravel. And I found, I'm about to choff then, and I found a lovely seam of gravel a little under 100 yards. It's really, really clean, surrounded by weed. And I've gone straight in with 3 D-rigs, balanced tigers, well, balanced tigers on 2 with plastic corn on top, because I don't know how bad the crayfish are in this one. And on the other one, I've just got a straight out the packet 16mm krill active wafter. This is the time of year now, we're talking, what is it now, nearly September. So I want to go heavy with a bait. So I have gone heavy with a bait. So I've gone big with the hook baits, or proper carp foodish with the hook bait, so to speak. And then out on the spot, I've done 3 big double handfuls of boilies. No mulch, it's only a shallow lake. I want big boilies down on the bottom to try and catch the bigger fish. A few cans of sweet corn, a few cans of tigers. I'm using the same cans of sweet corn to measure out my tigers, so my bait's consistent. Something that I always go on about, be consistent with your baiting. And then I've also put a few cans of hemp in there as well, just to sort of keep the fish grubbing around. That'll fall sort of between all the cracks of the gravel, and it'll just keep the fish in the peg longer. And that's something that's worth noting. I'll take a breath now. That's something that's worth noting. The lake itself is only shallow. Now, when I hook one, if I hook one, hopefully I do, the chances are that the rest of the fish are going to bolt away from the spot. So with the hemp there, it will almost keep them preoccupied. So as they're sort of troughing through that, so to speak, they might not notice that their mate has just been dragged away from the pack. That's the theory anyway. It's probably about an hour before it gets dark now. I'm going to show you the swim so I can set the scene. And I'm going to put myself a little bit of dinner on because I'm absolutely starving. And I spent probably 4 to 5 hours walking around Gaunts, which is where I have been fishing, trying to find fish. But with so many anglers on, I just didn't want to slot in and make a load of disturbance. So my arm's dying from holding this camera up. I'm going to spin it round now, hold it with 2 hands, and I'm going to show you the peg that I'm in. This is what I like. Even though I'm not old, I'm getting older, I can pull my van up there, unload my kit. There's the old bivvy. I've had a bloody disaster as well. Look at this. Ripped it here, which I'm absolutely devastated about. Filming, it blew out the ground, and I don't know how, but it never ever marked the material. It only marked the sort of bit where the bars thread through. So it doesn't leak, and the skull cap covers it up. So anyway, that's enough about my dramas. Right, so this is the peg. It's the old bivvy in there, look, nice and set up. Got the front on because I'm here for a couple of nights, so I want a bit of comfort. Can of corn down there. Looking out there, ready to go. A couple more cans of corn. See, they've got the old buckets. The old Kemp Particles buckets there, which is loaded up with tigers. That one there is loaded up with 16mm active krill. And then I've got hemp. And then what I like to do is I like to have one bucket there for cleaning my hands with. And then that bucket there for spomming out of. And then as we can see down here, the rods. I did initially have the rods up here, but the swans are a nightmare, and with braid it's a joke. So rods are down here, which is uber carpy, very, very big carp. Tips in the water. This is the setup that I've used all year rods wise, and these are the 12'6" Kaizen greens, which are looking lovely there, nestled in the weed. Very edgy, very sort of catalogue-esque style setup. I've got my reels. Now, a few people have asked me what reels are. They're the SCW45s. One of the things that I like about my fishing is that I like to use gear. I know gear's available for everybody, but the tackle that I've got here, those reels retail at about 120, similar to the rods. So if you're on a budget, it just shows that you can fish and catch carp and go anywhere, and the gear that is available is of very, very high quality. And on there we've got the Apex braid, because the lake's very weedy, so it makes sense to use braid. And then down there you'll see them little bad boys, the old mini microns. Absolutely love these. Used these for ages now. Very, very simple, on and off, 3 settings, volume, tone and sensitivity. Receiver works beep for beep, and they've got a drop back differential as well, so I know if I get in a drop back. I've got my custom there, what Corder very kindly had me done. Well, I think that there's a very good reason for these being sort of tested in colours, shall we say. And I've got the weight on there, and the reason why I've got the weight on there is because I fish with braid with a bit of a drop. So the weight on there keeps the braid under tension to stop it from floating back up should any weed get underneath it. But also, if a fish swims into my line, I've got that bit of movement there so it doesn't drag the lead. Because what you've got to remember with braid is if that bobbin moves and it hasn't taken any line off the clutch, the lead is moved. And that's vital when you're fishing with braid. You want to make sure you've got that drop there, so if fish do come on your spot and you start getting liners, not only do you know, but you've got that little bit of give there, probably 3 to 4 inches of line, which just means that your lead and your hook bait are going to stay firmly in place. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Right, this is the peg. So the situation is, that's my horizon marker. I've gone straight down the middle to this little dome tree. I sort of worked my way along from the very left-hand parameter of the peg all the way along to what is my right parameter, which is the middle of that big group of trees. And right on that tree there, let me zoom in, at just under 100 yards, so I can see that at night, and then that little green patch of reeds in the day, just under 100 yards, the gravel is like glass. I say it's like glass. Glass isn't bumpy, but it is exceptionally clear. And that little water spider that you can see out there is right over the spot. So yeah, the wind is dying off. We'll do a little pano chocolat of the lake. Haven't actually seen a carp show yet, but I know there's carp in here. Look at that, lovely. Got an angler over there. Don't want to be too intrusive with my zoom. And we've got another angler over there, and then there's a couple of other guys spread along this bank as well. So yeah, here we go. My first night on the other syndicate lake, on my ticket, up at Linear Fisheries. La Barge. Well, I am getting absolutely bitten alive. As you can tell, it is now the morning, because last night was quiet. It's mad, you know, because I didn't even hear a single fish show through the night, and I was up from like 2 o'clock for about an hour, not heard a fish. But then, no liners, fishing on braid. Just landed that. Now I reckon before that had spawned, that's probably one of the lake's bigger ones. He's still a 30 pluser now. You wait till you have a look at this. He is absolutely gorgeous. A proper bit of old Oxfordshire mirror carp. Look at that, beautiful. As you can see the slick there, I've just spotted back out. Again, another thing that people always say, shouldn't spot on first light. It's relevant to the lake you're fishing on. This lake here, they like a bit of bait. If they like a bit of bait and you've had a bite, put some more bait out. That's my motto anyway, but everybody will tell you differently. But I always think, once you've made that initial disturbance, you put the rods back out, you've made a bit of noise, you've spooked them off with the lead, you want to draw them back in with the spom. And I've just put 7 spoms, had a recast on all the rods because I wiped my other 2 rods out like a complete and utter idiot. the disturbance is now made and there's still fish that are crashing sort of near to where I am. I've seen a couple since it's got light, which is good news. Now, typically when I'm on my own, I always catch a proper nice one. Have a look at this one. 31 pounds and 12 ounces. Let me tell you, they don't come much nicer than this. The phrase banger is quite a lot often overused, but I think you're all going to agree this falls into that category. Look at that for a special looking carp. 31 pounds and 12 ounces of fine, active syndicate mirror carp. Oh, he's lively. Have a look at the other side. I'm going to slip him back. I've got no one here to do photographs, but we've got it on video. It's on YouTube. It's going to be on here forever. Oh, look at that for a carp. Wow. I'm quite pleased now that the other lake was busy. They don't come much better than that, let me tell you. Labash. Well, after that fish, I've decided to move swims, which some people might find crazy, but there's a lot of fish down here off the back of this wind, as you can probably see. That one's just started fizzing. I completely ruined that. There's one started fizzing out there anyway. So they're off the back of the wind, which is where I didn't think they would be. But I come down here, I found a spot, got my bait out, got my rods out, and I'm literally just sitting here now. Oh, a couple of little things on the end of the bed there that you can't look at. As you can probably see what that is, that's green line. Got my new spod rod over there to try out, which is a 12'6" Kaizen green spod rod. Rods are a very personal sort of preference, and 12 foot for me, I'm not very consistent with. 12'6", I'm absolutely bang on most of the time, not all of the time. 13 foot, I'm woeful. So 12'6" for me is the perfect length, and that there is a 12'6" Kaizen green. So I'm looking forward to changing it from my 12'6" platinum that I got there. Got the old long toes out, nice bit of suntan. We've also got a couple of the boys from Corda coming down to do a few bits and pieces today. We're just getting rigged up here to do a few quick fire questions. Lewis has gone to the shop because the one job he had was to bring gas and he forgot it. So he's going to get gas, and that's all of his kit there. So yeah, here we go. Moving forward with our day. When Lewis comes back, and we can have a coffee, that is, anyway. Well, here's the boys. Change a peg, like I said. We've got ourselves another carp, and it's another good one as well. I reckon it's another close 30 pounder. What a touch. 2 different pegs. Well, basically in a day, because I caught that one this morning. Oh, look at that little liner there, look. Basically, I caught that one this morning, and then I've moved, and I just had another bite. Well, yeah, another bite now. And I'm getting liners. My spodding is bang on as well. The wind is off my back, which makes it easier. Look at that. Oh, look, little liners. Little liners, they're on the old spot. I get so excited, I do. I'm never, ever going to lose this love and buzz. It's going to happen. Right, let's get this fish out. We'll have a little look. Go on, the old long toe. That bad boy. Just give myself a pedicure with me braid blades. Surely I'm not the only angler that cuts their toenails with their scissors. Always nice to have a little pedicure. Let's have it. What are we saying, Lou? 28.5 pounder. Lovely. It would have been a lot bigger before it spawned. But there's another bite.
Get that zoom on there.
Actually got some zoom on her.
Oh, he's getting some cutaways.
I couldn't actually gender the camera, should I, in this day and age?
Let's go. What if I go like this? Oh, mate.
But we're on a bit of detail.
Nah, we're on an uber wide.
Uber wide.
Looks like a massive
The capture or the shot. few
Look at that.
fishes. Well, that's him gone then. He went. Right, well I just thought I'd do a brief update because today has been absolutely manic. As you would have seen there, I was filming with Ed and Lewis from Corda. Now, I have to do days like that, content days. I absolutely love them. It's lovely working with the guys. Did catch that one fish, which was cool. 28.5 pound, just under 29 pound I think it was. Them boys left about 2 hours ago. I went down a shop, sorted my life out, and I got one more night. So I've had a walk round my target water, the one with the Oxfordshire record in, and even though there was 11 guys on there last night, there's only 3 guys left here tonight. So I haven't seen anything, but I'm going on a bit of a hunch. I'm fishing in a different peg, one that I've not fished before. Again, like I keep saying, about building a picture. You know, I want to try and get as many swims, under my belt as possible. Find as many areas in these swims as possible and just try them out. So I'm in a peg that sort of fishes out off the end of an island. When you're not seeing fish, an island is always a good area to go to just because you have got that little bit of a pass-through point. Fish always congregate around an island. Whether or not it does the big fish, I don't know. The wind's trickling up this end. The light's fading fast. I've just found a spot. I'm going to get my 3 rods out. But yeah, it's been another hectic day. Creating content for Corda. That's what life's all about. Having fun and doing what you enjoy. It's been a quiet night, but I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock. I did have a bit of a lay-in. And there was quite a few fish showing down to my right in short. Now, something that I wouldn't normally do is flick a single on them. I thought, you know what, nothing's happened on the bait, so I'm going to chuck a single on them. And Brad has just rocked up because we're filming a little bit of content today. And lo and behold, the right-hander is just absolutely soft. And I'm in to a gauntlet carp. Focus on getting this in. Very, very weedy out in front of where I am. It's kicking off at no end, this fish. Ooh, it's kicking right off. Yes! Haha! Not often I get playing action when I'm here on my own, so it's very good that Brad came down and we've got ourselves a Gaunt's Lake mirror carp, and looks alright as well. Well, I said it was a better fish, 33 and a little bit. So even though it's been a slow week this week, in the grand scheme of things, I've had a 28, a 31 and a 33. Look at that. Only problem is in here is a few of them got bad mouths. The lake is very, very weedy. They're very old fish and it's also snaggy as well, and that obviously doesn't help. I'm going to treat any sort of wound, but unfortunately that's sort of damage that's beyond repair. But I'll treat my hook hold before I put him back. But there you go. Another carp ticked off the list on here, which means I'm one closer to catching the record. Right, I am back down on my syndicate in search of the Oxfordshire record. Haven't been able to get down here for a little while due to filming commitments, but now is the time. And you know what? And it's mad this. I've been walking around the lake most of the day and I actually saw it show. Not saying I'm going to catch it because I probably aren't, but I see it show. It come clean out of the water right in front of the peg that I'm in now. I've just got my 3 rods out. I've gone for 2 yellow pop-ups and a pink pop-up, manila yellows, and then I've got a Mulbs, I think it is, that I've had gooed up out on a spot. And as I literally put the last rod out, the heavens have opened. So I'm just sitting in the bivvy now taking a little bit of shelter, but that fish is in the vicinity of where I am now. The wind tomorrow is due to do a complete 180 and blow down the other end. There's nobody down there, but what I did today when I had a little bit of time is I went down there and had a lead about. So I found a couple of areas down there. If it doesn't happen tonight, I can move down there tomorrow. But I have seen the big and show, and it's out there somewhere, and it's prime time now. You know, we've got a bit of rain. Granted, the air pressure's high. Just had Scott on the phone, harping on about the moon, but he reckons this week is the full moon. So if you're going to catch a big carp, I suppose you might as well stack all the odds in your favour. Yeah, I'm going to pan around. I'm just going to set the scene, so you're feeling the trip with me, so to speak, and we'll see what happens. But it's good to be back on a syndicate. Well, here's the peg then. It's a swim known as the pallet. Not actually fished in this peg before, but there's a guy fishing over there, out in line with him at 13 rod lengths. I've just found a real nice sort of like silty-ish area. There's a little bit of weed about, but I don't want to thrash it to a foam. I sort of chucked it roughly where I'd seen the fish show, out there. So I've got 3 rods, basically, where that bivvy is, that tree there. 3 rods dead in line with that, nice and tight together. I'm just going to knock a bit of bait up when this rain stops. I'm just going to put sort of 10 or 12 over the top. A few of the lads that were on it at the weekend said it fished quite slow, but normally when places fish slow, that's when the big uns come out. But there's the rods. You can see why it's called the pallet swim. We've got one of those just down there. Yeah. Oh, I'm confident. Not confident of getting loads of bites. I definitely think there's a bite to be had out of here. And the area that I've got, excuse me, the area that I've got prime ready for tomorrow is the shallowest part of the lake. And we've got mega high pressure coming in tomorrow, northeasterlies and 20 degrees. So kind of hoping that with a big weather change, a night in here when it's cooler, then a move down the far end tomorrow. But for now, it's chucking it down. We're already a bottle of that down. And normally once we've sunk a bottle of that, a bit of God's juice, we're in for a good trip. Right, just weighed him up just under 31 pound. Not a bad start. A nice welcome back. So hopefully he behaves. Come on, Mr. Carp. There he is. Hopefully you can see him right, getting a bit closer. There we go. 31 pound of syndicate lake mirror carp. And I've just checked the time and it's just gone 1 o'clock in the morning. So still a bit of time for some more. Lovely. So look at the other side. Shuffle up a bit. And again, one I don't think I've had before, which is always good. There he is. 31 pounder. Lovely. Labash. Right, back to bed. Well, good morning, and as you would have seen, I am now in a different location. I've moved down the opposite end of the lake. I've moved to where I was going to fish yesterday when I arrived. I only had 1 fish last night. I say only, and I know it was a 30 pounder, but there was so many fish there that I just felt that I should have been catching more, or should have had a few more chances. Now the weather today has gone super high pressure, up in the 1030s, and it's just sprung up this new northeasterly wind, which a northeasterly wind is quite a rare wind, and it's going to bring with it sort of 20-degree temperatures. Now where I've actually moved to, just so you get a sort of set the scene, so to speak, of where I am, is not the shallower end, but it sort of tapers down. So this one peg probably controls a couple of acres of water, but what you have got is you've got a far tree line which sticks out in the water, and it's the only real sort of tree line, so to speak, that you can fish across to. Now it's only about 4 or 5 foot deep in there. I see a few fish in there yesterday, but with it being higher pressure, you normally want to look for shallower water. With it being warmer, again, you want to be looking for shallower water, especially now the water's starting to cool down and we get these warmer days. So I've come down here on a bit of a whim that they might turn up here. The wind is just picked up now. I've got 2 rods out over into a gap where I've caught quite a few where I've caught quite a few fish from before. And I've just found like a lovely little bar sort of down to the left that's going to sort of take the brunt of the wind, so to speak, in the bay. It's probably only about 4 or 5 foot deep, but again, it's really shallow in comparison to sort of the 7 or 8 feet that's around it. So I've got a couple of options for later on, but I'm just sort of going to sit on my hands now on the 2 rods that I've got out there and just see what happened. But we're up and running. 30 pounder, Bob's your uncle, job's a good un, whatever you want to say. We've got one on the scoreboard. There's the old rods, look. I always have my little bucket stack, nice and neat. Front one has my bait in it, second one has water in it. So when I'm spomming, fill the spom up, wash my hands off. Got my barrow over there, everything's nice and close by. Just got these as well. See these little side things here? Compact side bags, I'll call them. They are in camo. The rest of my gear is olive, which is slightly playing with my OCD, but they're bang on. You know what it's like when you load your wheelbarrow, you always grab something out the van, don't you? Grab your wallet out the van, or you grab your power pack, or you've got like some bombs that you want to put in there in case you crack one off, or cans of corn. You end up just chucking them on the wheelbarrow. And what ends up happening is as you're pushing it, they end up rolling off and going everywhere. But with them bad boys, one either side, you can load them up with all your little bits and pieces, and it means that when you're barrowing, nothing's falling off. So yeah, nice little plug there for Carport 2. And I'm not just saying it, but if you haven't got a power barrow, I'd invest in one. They without a doubt make you a better angler. And I know people are going to say, well, how does a bloody wheelbarrow make you a better angler? I moved this morning at 7:30. I would not have moved if I didn't have a power barrow, because the thought of putting my gear on one of them things and pushing it is enough to send me into an early grave. But with the aid of the power, chuck it all on, doesn't matter how it goes on, switch it on, hit the button, takes you for a walk. Anyway, I set the scene for the peg so you know where I am. So basically, you can see, nice horizon feature, what I always say to find and fish to. And that is the gap that I'm fishing into there. Obviously you can see the bank at the back. So where I am is sort of the furthest back into the snags you can go, so to speak. I have caught before from fishing just here in front of this tree, but I've had a little lead around, it's quite weedy, so I'm just going to give it a go just for a few hours in this little gap. But what's really good about this camera, as you can see, is you can zoom right in. And last time I did this when I was on here, I was watching them bubble, then I had a bite. So, oh, Colin's coming round the old bailiff. So I'm hoping that I can see the fish if they start fizzing. Oh, little beep there. But yeah, the rods are out, we're doing it, we're having it. Loveliest of times. Well, I don't know how much we're going to get of this, but I'm in to a carp. It's taken probably 2 hours, and I've just had an absolute ripper on the right-hander. So I'm going to walk to the front. You probably won't be able to see too much, but hopefully you'll be able to see me play and land a carp. Just going to try and change the old Kurt angle. Remember he? The old wrestler, wasn't he? That's better. Here we are. You're slightly on the wonk because you're resting on top of my bivvy. The fish has just kited round to the left. Knows exactly where he wants to go, this one. Down into the trees. Gives me the right run around. Such mega bites on the braid though. I look like I'm on the wonk. You literally land on my bivvy. I say, because I'm fishing up to some snags now, I've changed over to braid. Just means that when I get a bite, I've got that initial contact. If they do manage to get over into the snags, I've got that little bit more leverage to pull them out with as well. But it's instantaneous, you know, you get no sort of pre-warning, bang, you just get your bite. Whereas with mono, I think by the time you've had a couple of beeps, you've got that much stretch that the fish has probably made its way over into the trees. Not far out now. It's like a nice old one. Crusty old back on it, as they say. As the elitists like to say. And that's on the pad. Yes. Oh. There you go, another carp in the old bag. Looks like a good one. A few battle scars. Lebash. Here he is then in the old landing net. Not a bad one. Look at that bad boy. A bit of a nasty scar on one side, but that is another decent fish. Don't know how big he is. It's a good upper 20, but you'll see on the other side he's got a real nasty wound. He might be a little bit bigger. That'll do. From the old hole on the pink pop-up. But whilst I was playing it, you might have seen over my shoulder a couple of fish have crashed down here, so this is going to be worth a little investigate in a minute. I'm going to get the third rod down there. Hopefully now with this wind picking up and pushing down, there's a few more coming down. Yeah, it looks like he's had a bit of a war wound in the past, and it's healed. Something's caught it again. What I'll do is, once I've done this bit of chat, I'll get him patched up. Not literally patched up, but get a bit of carp care on him and get him sorted. But on the plus side, it's another one of the fish in here that I've not caught. There he is. The sun's even made an appearance. Go. Another syndicate lake mirror carp. The loveliest of times. Quick look at the other side. Don't want to keep him out too long. Stress him out. I'd say it's one of the lake's old ones. This has got a proper big head, bulging eyes. It's got all of the trademarks of what was a big fish. Obviously, the older they get, they start losing a little bit of weight. Hopefully that happens to me as I get a little bit older. Start to lose a bit of weight. But there he is. Another syndicate lake carp that I've not caught. We're getting closer to that record of every single one we catch. Lovely. Big old mirror carps. Rod against the bivvy can only mean one thing. We've got another carp in the net, and it looks like it could potentially be another 30 pounder. Just going to show you through the rig here. I'm going to sneeze. Hey, we're going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me, I hate it, didn't you? When you're going to sneeze and then you're just about to talk. Or you're about to talk and then you sneeze. So, I've got the Apex braid on there with a 18 pound, I think it is, contour shock leader, if it decides to focus on the reel. And then rig-wise, doesn't get any more simple than that. I've got, I'm not the best here, I remember this light. I've got the old spinner rig on, size 4 crank. The reason why I've got that as a presentation, even though I'm fishing over there on quite clean gravel, obviously I'm fishing under trees, so even though it feels clear to the paw on the lead, when I've rechucked the rod that hasn't gone on both occasions, it's brought leaves back both times. Not many, like 1 or 2, but I don't want to be chucking out something on the bottom that's going to get snowed up in leaves. So it's pop-ups over gravel, which is pretty blatant, something that I wouldn't normally like to do, but given that the fact the leaves are starting to fall now, and there's obviously a lot of leaf litter over there. I mean, that's just over 100 yards over there, which is quite a chuck, so you've got to assume that most people that come in on here are probably not going to be fishing that far across. So the area, if they're fishing like, say, 23.5 wraps, it might be clean there, but where the fish have sort of wafted all the debris and all the crap away, then over the back is going to be a lot sort of leafier. Just means I've got better presentation, and I had a tiger nut tip with a bit of plastic corn, and that's still out there now on the middle rod. So that just goes to show that the pop-ups are the way forward. So they're both going to come in now, and they're both going to go on pink pop-ups. There we go, another Mr. Carp sulking in the landing net. Absolutely love spomming, I do. I could spom until my arms drop off. Another thing worth noting as well, I'm fishing tonight over to the snags. But I brought an extra 6 foot in off my clips just to give me that bit of extra time to get to the rods, because obviously when you're in your bag, even when you think you get to it quick, you never do. Right, that is it. I have just put 7 back out over the spot, as you would have seen there, all pretty accurate. And I'm reeling in backwards because I'm cool like that. Yeah, all we've got to do now is sit back, enjoy the evening, wrap up because it dropped off a little bit. Can't see much happening tonight, But tomorrow we go again. Well, I might see you before, you never know. Well, as you can probably tell, I am in bed still. It's absolutely freezing this morning. The sun's out, but on the far side. But in the shade, it's really, really cold. Now, had a bit of a mare the past few hours. Well, I say the past few hours, since it got dark. I lost one just on dark, which I'm sure was a carp. It got caught on the other line and it just popped the hook out. Then I had another one about 4 o'clock this morning, only a small one, didn't bother getting a camera out. To be honest, it was so misty, I think it would have all steamed up anyway. And I've just changed the spot. I've come away from the bay because when you're standing in the margins down here, or when I was yesterday, as soon as I walked into a bit where the shade was, you could feel the temperature difference on your feet. And over in the bay that I was fishing to, by about 12 o'clock yesterday, there was quite a lot of shadow cast over it. And I'm just thinking that that might have a sort of an impact in these fish, you know, because ultimately they want to try and be as warm as they can for as long as they can. And I think by staying fishing in the shaded water is probably not going to be the one, but I've just moved it to a little bit further along the tree line, sort of at the front of the trees rather than in a cove. Had a bite, bloody went in the tree, didn't it? But luckily enough, the hook pulled and I managed to get everything back, so it's not too bad. But the rod had only been out about 20 minutes, but don't want to be losing them on here. I think of all I think I've done about 10 trips on it now. I've only lost 3. 2 of them have been on this trip, so bit annoying really. And again, I'm still in 2 minds tonight whether to stay here or go up the other end. One of my mates is at the top end. He actually had a couple of fish last night, so there is potential for another move, but I'm certainly going to set out the day. You know, I've had 4 fish now since I've been in here. 2 smaller ones. I had a smaller one yesterday. I didn't film it. I literally just unhooked it in the net and popped it straight back. It was one of the new stock fish, probably about 8 to 12 pound, I reckon, something like that. Obviously I've had the 3 30-pounders, so I can't complain. 5 fish, been here 2 nights, and lost a couple, which is never good. But I'm sort of sitting here now, we're laying here now. Rods are really close by. You know, I was on that rod in a flash, but it's one of them, innit? Just, it happens. But as long as you're not leaving tackling them, and I didn't leave tackling them, but I've just brought the clips back a couple of feet just to give me that little bit of extra time. But it's looking good, you know, the wind started to pick up, push down here. But we've had 5 fish, so one mustn't complain. But the wind's picking up nicely, and it's brought the carp. It might not be the biggest one, but after a loss, or 2 losses, that, let me tell you, is a welcome visitor. And he's a nice looking fish. So we'll get him out on the bank, have a little look at him. The leaves are falling now. I know it's not autumn yet for all you purists, but autumn is well on the way. Once the old leaves start dropping and they start changing colour, the trees, even though it is summertime still, autumn is on the way. That's where I'm fishing to now, in line with that. A lot more grown up around there, and I just think the fish are hiding behind it. You'll see what I mean. See how that there is right in the sun, right up to the snag. If I go along just a short pan to the right, I was fishing in that gap. You see what I mean there by that shadow? The difference in temperature between that shadow and in the sun will be massive. If we can feel it, the carp are cold-blooded. They can certainly feel it. Right, let's get them out and have a little goose. Proper give me the run around. The one that I lost, I thought might have been a big one because of how powerful it was when it went, but this one here thought exactly the same, and as you can see, he's not, oh, so bloody lively. There we go. Bit crouched down because the camera's a bit low, but there we go. Another one. A lovely scale pattern on his belly. There we go. A nice syndicate mirror carp. I don't know how big he is. Mid upper double. But he's another bite. Another carp on the board. Lovely. But the sun is out and they are certainly having it. In there we haven't got one. We've got 2 carp. Literally just had a double take off of the snag. The sun's right up in the sky now, and that's just starting to become a little bit shaded where I'm fishing, which is that tree there. But you can see now that bay is completely shaded. So glad I made the switch. 5 bites today. Yeah, 5 bites, 4 fish landed. I slipped another one back. Yeah, I've got a rod down in this corner as well now. I say down there, it's It's 18 wraps down. It's about 100 yards to the bottom end, but I've seen a couple of fish show on the end of the wind, so just worth spreading my bets a little bit. But yeah, there's the old buckets of bait there. I'm getting my particle off of these boys for a while now, old Kent Particles. If you ain't checked them out, go and check them out, and if you want to save yourself 10%, use the code TOM10. All capital letters, Tom, obviously T-O-M, with a 10 after it, TOM10. That's got my tigers in there, so I've been putting out a very basic mix. You can see they just finished bombing. Very basic mix. So in there we got the old tiger. You can see, a lovely bit of tiger nut. And in this bucket here, pretty much down to the dregs of what I've got left. A few cans of corn, and then I've got my creel here that's been mulched. What mulched? It's been washed out for about 3 or 4 days. Well, in fact, I took it with me last trip, never used it, put it in the freezer, defrosted it, and I'm using it now. But you can see it's so soft, minimal effort there to break it, but they love it. Keep it basic, as I always do. I don't say it for the sake of it, I say it because it works. Get the old hand of rinse. Let's have a look at these fish. There you go. There's that one. I reckon he's 23, 24 pounds, something like that. I think you can haul in there. Another one though, like I say, another one ticks off the list. Let's have a little goose to the other side. Really long fish, this one. These are sort of typical of the ones you'd probably expect to catch and get up against them snags. I know I've had a couple of 30s, but these little, the old whippersnappers. We drop him back and we'll get the other one out, shall we? Lovely. Oh, he's kicking off the other one now. Right. There he is. Lovely. Another clean fish though. That's what it's all about. Well, as the sun starts to set on what has been an absolutely roasting day, I've just finished the trip with another carp. All the rods are in and I'm going to head for home. I was going to stay and do another night, but I don't know, once I've had my couple of nights fishing, I've had my fix, that's enough for me. I can go home and back up again Friday because we've got our CineCarp annual social on Oxleys. But just before I leave, I want to end this vlog by saying that we have got our first subscriber giveaway on the go now. Moving over onto YouTube obviously allows us to do things for free for you guys, ultimately to benefit you as best as we possibly can and as much as we possibly can. Now, the first free giveaway we have got one of them bad boys, which is a 3-rod divide rod bag. We've got, oh, let me get it in focus, that there, which is the compact brew kit bag. And we have also got, mind the pot noodle, a framed carry-all. Now they are my 3 favourite items of luggage that I have used since joining Corda, and the guys and girls at Corda have very kindly given us this bundle to give away to one lucky subscriber. So you've got the compact frame carry-all, divide 3-rod holdall, and the compact brew kit bag. Now, seeing as we're on YouTube, I can do my YouTube bit. All you got to do to be in with a chance of winning this absolutely fantastic prize, and I'm going to show you my face when I do this, is make sure you like the page, subscribe to the page, I think that's what you say when you're on YouTube, and hit that bell notification so you're notified whenever we drop a video, which is going to be regular. So your phone's going to be pinging because we're going to be dropping regular content, because that is something that what we want to do. Switching CineCarp from behind a paywall over onto YouTube was always something that myself and Brad had planned to do, and now we are able to do that, which means that ultimately we can bring you content completely free of charge, which will help you in your angling, make you a better angler. Not only that as well, it will provide masses of entertainment, as well as being able to do free, not free, F-R-E-E, monthly subscriber giveaway. So you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell icon, I think, to be notified when the next video is coming out. We thank you massively for your support. My vlogs are going to be as regular as clockwork because I'm always out on the bank. This has been another blinder. Much love. I'll see you all on the next one.